Hello, this is Matt from Unbearable 73. It's not going to be a long video. So Monarch Legacy of Monsters premiered. It's a TV show set in the MonsterVerse of Legendary Pictures, which was Godzilla 2014, Godzilla King of the Monsters in 2019, Kong Skull Island either that year or the year before, and then of course Godzilla vs Kong, right? And there's some animation I think in there as well. Now, before I talk about the show, let's give you my perspective on the MonsterVerse. I love the Godzilla itself, right? He's based the 3D modeling is based on a bear. You ever watch how Godzilla moves and fights? He's basically like, and then watch videos of a bear, a grizzly bear in particular. It's how a grizzly bear would move and fight. If it had a tail and an atomic fire breath and spines. It's especially apparent in Godzilla vs Kong. In the final fight, when you see Godzilla acting like a bear with the stomping and the biting and the ragdolling and all that sort of stuff. Okay? So I love that. I love the monsters in general, their depiction. Although I think they go out of their way to make some of the background monsters be not traditionally kaiju looking. I mean, they could pull from other mythologies and legends to get some of those and not worry about copyright or whatever, but whatever. So I love that part of it. In general, the storylines for all four movies have been okay to good, right? The general storylines, right? Not the specific implementations, right? But the main problem with the reason why the only really, aside from the kaiju fights, which are all very good or bad or to great, the only movie I would, generally speaking, consistently watch again, Skull Island, and to some extent, Godzilla King of the Monsters, but I will skip parts of it, okay? And why? What is my problem with these movies, okay? Well, the number one problem, and the reason is, these are movies where the kaiju are supposed to be the stars, okay? So, you need to have monster fights, and you need to have the people story be related to the monster. For example, in Godzilla King of the Monsters, when they're in Antarctica, and you see the people stuck between Godzilla and King Ghidorah fighting after Charles Drance, wakes King Ghidorah up. Plus genocide mom, they wake him up. I'll talk about that in a second. It's great how you see the people trying to get away from King Ghidorah, and then some getting killed by him, and Godzilla fighting, and that maybe killed some of them. That's a human story that matters, right? And also a human story that matters is the kid, because the kid is caught between the two parents, and what she does, she takes the Monarch device, I forgot the name of it, and the communicator, and escapes with it, right? And that, right? Okay. And even the mother story where she goes back to Yurina tells me they saved that kid, that could have worked, right? But the problem is the other human stories, like Professor Serizawa stupidly, pointlessly kills himself. The thing, literally all they had to do was pull the radioactive elements out and throw them in Godzilla's mouth. That's all they had to do. Because here's a clue, okay? The amount of radioactivity in the radioactive stuff, in fissile materials, doesn't change if you blow it up. It just spreads out, okay? Yes, there's an explosive release of radiation. That's radiation that's contained in. And we know that Godzilla just absorbs radiation by being near it, okay? So just throw a bunch of bombs in the radiation from a bunch of bombs in his mouth, and he would have got better faster, Now, the stupidity of that aside, but the King of the Monsters had the least amount of stupid human plots, okay? That's the big detraction in these movies. There's way too many human characters. And you just find yourself not caring about most of them, and their subplots, and when you get to Blu-ray versions of it, you just fast forward through a lot of the human parts. So, Monarch Legacy of Monsters, what is that? I've been talking for 5 minutes already. So this is a TV show that starts after Godzilla 2014, and there's some flashbacks in it so far. I know that much. I've watched the first episode, and it's supposed to be about exploring the mystery of Monarch. So it's less about the kaiju, per se, their fights, but more about the agency that's investigating and covering them up and all that. Okay, so we're not going to have, we are going to have human plots about Monarch, right? And the effect of Monarch, and about the kaiju, right? Keep that in mind, okay? Opens up, you see the image on this in my thumbnail I'm using. Pretty good opener with John Goodman doing a cameo from Skull Island. The giant spider chases him and it fights a giant crab and it tumbles into the water. I would like to see that fight go another 30, 40 seconds, maybe have some clipping going on and you have the two creatures fighting a little more, but fine, whatever. Save money on the special effects. That's pretty much it for Monsters, except for a small one later in the show. Okay, fine. It's not about the monsters. It's about Monarch, right? They barely even mention Monarch. Other than, like, if we didn't know what Monarch was as fans, we would not have known what it was from this first episode. So no introduction of the plot other than there's a secret. And that's where things get complicated, okay? They spend... So there's a mystery character, right? And he apparently dies or is thought to die. And his daughter goes to Japan because he travels the world for his job, which they don't know is related to Monarch or whatever it is. We don't know that, to be honest. We don't even know that yet. And she has keys to his apartment. So she gets in, and to our shock, there's another kid and another woman there. And we find out that the dude's a polygamist, right? And he has a wife in both countries and kids in both countries and blah, blah, blah. And so, in the show, it's supposed to be about Monarch. And it's supposed to be about, you hear the beeps of my Discord going off. It's supposed to, and something's supposed to be about Monarch, right? And maybe it's supposed to be about kaiju. We spent 15 minutes of this movie going over the polygamists who ruined these women's lives, and they don't even go to the woke side of it, right? Because yes, there's no even woke argument, like because an evil man got the woman or all, and they don't even go that way. They just go on about the plot of a polygamist, how it damages people's lives, which is a legit thing, especially when they're not. I mean, I hate saying that, when they're non-consensual and polyamory, like. Not that even, like the women didn't know about each other, they never, whatever. The point I'm getting at is, this is 15 minutes of this episode where most people are going to check out. It's a very soap opera element, and they could have hand-waved it by just saying this was a dude's first wife, and that's our older brother, and then he never told his second wife about his first wife. They could have did that, and they got divorced, but they've been living in that apartment. And it's not really his apartment, it's their apartment. He just stays in the room when he goes there. They didn't have to have any of this melodrama with polygamy at all. But it takes up 10 to 15 minutes of this episode where they're not investigating Monarch, and they're not talking about kaiju, and we're not seeing the flashbacks to the past, which is the better part of this of the thing, aside from the opening fight with John Goodman. The flashback to the past, the past. In the Philippines, if I recall correctly. I haven't quite figured it out. That's interesting, okay? So that's my kind of thoughts on this. They boarded us out. I'm going to watch the second episode. I'm enough of a fan of the Monsterverse that I will get through it, this series. I will probably drop some comments about one or two more episodes just to see if it goes anywhere, right? But, compare and contrast with Godzilla -1, which is about to be released in the U.S., which I know the plot of. I read the synopsis of. I'm not going to spoil it. And the movie is entirely about the kaiju and how people's lives are affected by Godzilla. Okay, there's a little bit of politics in it, but it's how the politics. They're not politics like evil man or evil American, blah, blah, blah. They're the politics of dealing with a giant monster attacking Japan, basically, and naval vessels and all sorts of stuff like that. And something that never happened before, people dealing with the crises of it, So, compare that to this show and the legendary, Comment down below if you have any thoughts or questions on this. I will probably do at least one more video talking about episode 2, which I will watch maybe tonight. After this, I have one more video I want to record, another short one. I don't know. I mean, it's disappointing that people don't understand that when you make a show about something or a movie about something, it should be about that thing and not about something else entirely. Anyway, so hopefully I didn't rant too much for you guys. My name is Matt. This is UNBEARABLE73. If you have any questions, type them down below. Like this video, please. Share it. My channel is getting a little bit of growth lately. Thank you, guys. I hope it hit 100 subs maybe by the end of the year. If enough people get into it, I get 100 subs by the end of the year. It'd be really cool. I have a live stream every Friday afternoon at 3 o'clock, maybe an hour and a half. I call it Friday Fandemonium, where I take you into my kingdom of Fandemonia and talk about stuff. And also tend to be on Roman and the Empire's live stream on Thursday nights. And the question is, we do like a weekly one occasionally. If you find me elsewhere. But anyway, thank you. Have a happy holiday. We'll see. Bye. Oh wait, that's my traditional. That's the news, and I am out of here.